Hola, buenos dias. And if you're looking to get a top grade in Spanish GCSE, you're in the right place. In this short video, I'm going to be telling you how to get top grades in GCSE Spanish. And with that said, let's dive in straight away. Now, my top tip number one is using tener structures. So a tener structure is a sentence or a phrase that uses the verb tener. Now, you've been using the tener structures since you started learning Spanish, and here's an example. ¿Cuántos años tienes? How old are you? And here's the answer. Tengo 16 años. Now, examiners love this because in English we're saying I am 16 years old, whereas in Spanish you're saying I have 16 years. Let's take that a little bit further. Ian tiene suerte porque va a España para las vacaciones. Ian is lucky because he goes to Spain for his holidays. Now, this expression tiene suerte is using a tener structure. It's not using the first person, in other words, I. It's using the third person, he or she. And that is why this particular phrase, Ian tiene suerte porque, etc., scores well, because you're using the third person. And you're showing the examiners that you can not only use the first person, i.e. talking about yourself, but talking about other people. And here's another one in the first person. Tengo miedo de viajar en avión. I'm afraid of traveling by plane. So, tengo miedo de viajar en avión. I'm afraid of traveling by plane. Tengo miedo, a classic tener structure. Tener miedo, to be afraid. Tengo miedo, I am afraid. Now, what you might be thinking is, this is all very well and good, but I'm not too sure on how to actually conjugate or put together different parts of the verb tener. Now, if you're in that position, in the description box below is a link to this particular video which actually tells you precisely how to conjugate tener. But let's go through it quickly. It goes tengo, tienes, tiene, tenemos, tenéis, tienen. Now, let's have a bit of interaction. I'm going to say it and you are going to repeat it after me. And even if you feel a bit silly doing it, why don't you do it? Because practice makes perfect. Here we go. Tengo. Tienes. Tiene. Tenemos. Tenéis. Tienen. So that's tengo, tienes, tiene, tenemos, tenéis, tienen. Now, I'm going to click here, and now we're going to go through to a pretty good, useful list of tener structures. And let's run through them really quickly. Tener años, we've just done that one, to be so many years old. Tengo, or tener calor, to be hot. So I am hot, tengo calor. Tener frío, to be cold. I am cold, tengo frío. Tener hambre, to be hungry. I am hungry, tengo hambre. Tener sed, to be thirsty. Tengo sed, I am thirsty. And let's run through the rest really quickly. Tener sueño, to be sleepy. Tener miedo, which we used in the previous example. Tener prisa, to be in a hurry. Tengo prisa, I am in a hurry. Tener razón, to be right. Not tener razón, to be wrong. Tener orgullo, to be proud. Tener suerte, and just rolling it off. Tener suerte, to be lucky. Tengo suerte, I am lucky. So there you are, tener structures. If I've overwhelmed you with too much information, just know one or two or three of these. Use them in your speaking and use them in your writing, and obviously be aware of them for the listening and the reading parts of the exam. With that said, hasta luego. amigos míos. Subscribe to the channel. Watch out, there's lots of these sorts of videos coming your way soon on this channel. Adiós, amigos míos.